Wow, the Planet Hake Live Show, the absolute finest entertainment. Everybody knows that. Today's show is going to be absolutely amazing. Thursday night, 8 p.m. I always love getting in here with you guys and having a good time playing the news. And tonight's show is going to be no different than it is every week. We've got some additional resources here. If you're just getting into the chat, make sure that you say, hey, what's up, Hank? We're in here. I go live Thursday night, 8 p.m. usually, but with the NFL football premiere of Thursday Night Football, the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Dallas Cowboys last night. Go Eagles, winning 24-20. I was celebrating. Here's to my celebration last night watching the football game. I'm so happy. The NFL is back. But now it's Friday night, 8 p.m. We are live. I just shared it up into my story, and tonight's show is going to be no different than the other night. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Please consider sharing it up across social medias. We are live streaming on several different platforms, including Twitter and Elon Musk's X site, which is always a big hit with the Brattleboro News recap show. During this show, I always play the very important news videos that I make throughout the week, and then I allow for people to post their comments. We have discussions about what's going on and maybe some details behind the scenes, etc. The radio tonight has been out of control. There's calls all over the place, and I almost feel a little bit guilty for not being out there right now with the good old boys, the Brattleboro Police Department, collecting the news for everybody to enjoy. Let me say hello. Adam Olin in the house. What's up? Maureen says, what's up? Jeff Bush, thank you for the stars. Starting off the star party, 100 stars. Hulk Hogan says, we are all the tweakers at Pick a Street, any street. Hank is the man, absolutely. So tonight's show is going to be no different. Here is your little preview of what is to come. Trump shoots down a drug smuggling ship. Bernie Sanders and the liberals lose their minds at a Senate hearing with RFK. SNAP benefits showdown in Vermont. Amazon dispute up here in Vermont, and they get refused. We've got a drug addiction debate, mental health or drug addiction. The Commons is garbage. Liberal bias in the media discussing homelessness in the area. Bernie Sanders loses his mind for the mayoral candidate, Zoran, the socialist. And the Republican coalition fights back on behalf of AFP against the liberals. All of that coming soon. Tonight on Topics Discussed, this show is going to be amazing. I love doing this show with you guys. One of the things that I always like to do is I make sure I play some of the very best news videos from the area. Let me go ahead and pull up something that happened today, something that happened this week. And it's a big story, and everybody's talking about it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this story for you guys and allow you to ask questions and discuss all kinds of different stuff involving it. So there was a man who allegedly was stalking some children in the area of the hospital earlier this week. He had a large machete, and he was arrested for aggravated stalking, which is actually a very big charge. So what I do is I play the entire video, and I allow you guys to discuss it with me.
Breaking news.
Questions.
I'm Hank with Brattleboro News and PlanetHank.com, bringing you the latest from our community. Today's story comes from Canal Street in the area of the hospital, where police received several reports from concerned citizens that a man was brandishing a large machete and allegedly was following some young children in the area. Brattleboro police swiftly responded to multiple reports of a man wielding a machete near Brattleboro Memorial Hospital, allegedly trailing 3 juveniles. Arriving at the scene, I observed the suspect walking south on Canal Street and noticed him conceal an object in the bushes near the hospital sign. In an effort to delay him until officers arrived, I called out to him, keeping him in sight.
Hey, buddy. Hey. Did you just put a machete right over there? Did you just throw that machete right over there? Oh.
Within minutes, Brattleboro police arrived, located the hidden machete, and safely recovered it. After a thorough investigation involving several units, Officer Smith Keller arrested the suspect, identified as Adam J. Kniffen, on the charge of aggravated stalking.
My camp with it. No, I was just carrying it. Yeah. I put it right behind that bush because I was walking to the store. I didn't want to go in the store with it, you know. So. All right. The guy said I was allegedly showing it to some kids, but why would I do that? I didn't say a word to nobody. I didn't say nothing. I just.
Yeah.
He was held on $1,000 bail. According to a press release issued by the Brattleboro Police Department, investigation revealed that the male, identified as Adam J. Kniffen, followed 3 juveniles under the age of 16 throughout several neighborhood streets. During the interaction, the male displayed a machete that he was carrying in a sheath on his person. The juveniles sought refuge in a nearby residence, and police were contacted. You are arrested does not mean that you're guilty of a crime, and the investigation is ongoing. I'll keep you updated as this story develops. For the latest, follow me on social media and visit our website. I'm Hank with Brattleboro News and PlanetHank.com.
So, obviously, we got some comments coming in. He says, well, yeah, he can't take it into the store. Like, buddy, can we stop acting like what you were doing was, like, logical? Do you see how, like, he acted like, oh, well, all I was doing was I just had a machete. All I was doing was just walking around and following kids around with a machete. Now, this is all allegedly, and, you know, there was a lot of debates, disputes, and coverage because of the headline on that story. All kinds of newspapers, WCAX, the Vermont Daily Chronicle, shout out to them. Everybody had something to say about this one. He goes, does it always have to be a machete? LOL, just kidding. There are several machete stories over the last few, however long, and in this town. So it's one of those moments of like, what in the Brattleboro are you doing, dude? And then as I pull up, I just start yelling to him out the back of my truck, like, hey, buddy, what the hell are you doing? You know, and tried to slow him down a little bit because I knew the cops were on their way. They were flying, but, you know, this is one of the reasons why that substation in downtown Brattleboro, which they're working on right now, by the way, thanks to all the efforts from the true patriots and community members who care about their community in Brattleboro. Thanks to them for all the hard work and select board meetings and all of the discussions that led to us being able to build a new substation in downtown so that we can cut down on that response time, because it took several minutes during daylight hours for officers to be able to travel from North Brattleboro at Black Mountain Road all the way down to the hospital. And I'll tell you like this, there are several instances of stuff going down at the hospital, which is crazy. She said, you have the story first, though. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's one of those things. I wanted to discuss his charges in depth with the officers before I released it, because one of the things that can happen is that there are other circumstances around revolving around arrest situations. So just because somebody is arrested does not mean that what happened at the site of an arrest is all that happens. They could have conditions of release. They could have other charges. State police could have warrants for them. They could be wanted in connection to other things. Who knows? There could be other information that was released, like say someone called in and said, hey, wait a minute, it's not that guy, it's a different guy. And all charges were dropped. I try not to jump the gun. I know a lot of people are like, oh, why don't you just hurry up and get the story. Because that's not my style. I want to make sure that I follow up, get a press conference going with the officers, and make sure that I know everything that happens as it comes out, whether, there's something that I'm missing during the arrest. He goes, nah, Brat. He goes, definitely not something you just roll around with, though. Machetes are so useful. Yeah, so there's been several stories that involve someone using a machete lately, and it was definitely out of place. Now, if it's true that he was brandishing it and following children, or they sort of got scared and said, I don't know the actual what happened. If I was there and got some footage or saw or witnessed something, I was the first one on scene, and what I witnessed was him hide it by the sign on the fact that he hid the machete by the sign at the hospital. It kind of makes me think that he realized, like, he tried to get rid of the weapon. Okay, he tried to conceal it and walk away. He says, I was going to the store. He was pretty far away from the store. And so it kind of makes me think that he knew that he might have done something that the police would be interested in him, and then decided, hey, look, I got to get away with it. He goes, so what is he charged with? He's charged with aggravated stalking. So here in the state of Vermont, aggravated charges are usually when you direct whatever it was at somebody. So he was stalking those children. He was following them. He was following them. Kind of like you can explain it very easily with aggravated disorderly conduct is when you basically direct your disorderly conduct at someone. You're yelling at them. You throw something at them. You kind of attack them, but it's like in less of a way than, like, say, full-blown assault. Say you spit at somebody, or say you throw something on the ground in their direction, or you storm at them and, like, act threatening. That can be aggravated disorderly conduct. Says the machete was so he could cut up his crack rock, so he don't just put the entire 40-piece in his pipe all at once. Oh, remember my reality series where Howard Silvernail shared with us how to smoke crack and do all of the separate parts and smoked it. I was like, I'm addicted. He blew the smoke and it went in my face. That was pretty funny. Hashtag Team Hank. She says, I'm taking a break from work so that I can send Hank some child support. 500 stars. Big shout out. Thank you for the stars. Everybody consider sending me some delicious stars because I need them for my wonderful media production company that everybody's so interested in. The Brattleboro News has caused all kinds of different reactions with people, and got so many people interested in the town of Brattleboro and the crime going on and the public safety emergencies that we're dealing with. And stars help me fund my news. They make me feel great. It's a way to validate my work. It's a way to contribute. This is the very finest podcast with the very finest people around the Brattleboro News Recap Show. It's for everybody, and I think that you'll find that you enjoy yourself if you start watching.
Planet Hank Live, the absolute finest entertainment on the internet. Join us in fighting back against evil.
It's hotter than a blacktop in July, sweating like a sinner in a church, and I just wanna get out with my crew tonight and shoot at the lights. Got a couple 40s full of pops and fun, looking for a good time, gotta live it up. Leave behind the city, hop inside my truck. No, we don't give up. We're gonna paint the night red. Who can holler till we're dead? We're down to turn up. We're up to get down. Saying, hey, y'all.
That's right. The Planet Hank Live Show, the absolute finest entertainment. And let me go ahead and set the mood while I discuss one of the most important parts to me, which is my sponsors who support me through thick and thin. They are amazing. They do such a big thing for me. They fund the Brattleboro News, which I need much more funding for, to get this thing off the ground and help take over. King's Electric has always supported me. They do fine electrical contracting work. I love these guys. They're always looking out for me. Big supporters of Brattleboro too. Mike Borio over at Kresge's Alignment. Excellent auto repair. If you need your car tuned up or repaired, if something's broken, get it over to Kresge's and have it looked at. What a good guy. What a good boy. You got Rod's Towing and Repair. What a wonderful family up there in Putney. Exit 4, 24/7 gas station, towing and repair. They're doing oil undercoating. These guys can help you out if you ever need to get towed out of some pinch. And my man, Mike O'Brien, MOB Pilot Car LLC. They're those little cars with the flags on them. Make it safe for big, huge tows to drag oversized stuff through our highways, making sure everybody's safe. Huge supporter of the Brattleboro News and me. Shout out to Real Progress, Vermont's own political PAC. If you're interested in getting this state on the right track, helping us work to ensure that the best interests of Vermonters are always cared for, consider making a campaign or a contribution today, and let me know. We have a massive event that we are excited to announce coming up. This event is Constitution Day 1787, okay? AFP Vermont will be at Bar 580 from 6 to 9 on September 17th. I will be hosting, speaking on the mic. I will feature several speakers, and we will be rocking out with the amazing band Intercept, who are huge fans of Planet Hank and the Brattleboro News. And they are patriots, and these guys rock. So, again, September 17th, 6 to 9, AFP Vermont. That's Americans for Prosperity, a wonderful organization. We will be hosting Constitution Day 1787. Hank in the house. Me rocking the mic like I always do, like a very good boy. I know you guys always love seeing your man. I'll be suited and booted, and I'll be hosting. And I think that you guys should all show up. It's going to be a packed house, and everybody is going to enjoy it. So, with no further ado, I have a guest coming out of Newfane, Vermont. She is a big part of their GOP group. And I'm going to add her to the stage right now. And here we go. We've got my friend, Chris White. How's it going?
Great. Beautiful
Can you
day.
hear me? It's a beautiful day. So Let me see if I can edit how this is. No. I want to try to increase us. Cancel. I can't. So we'll just leave you the way you are. Can you turn your phone sideways? And maybe it'll. There you go. Now I can see a big picture of you. So, Chris White, tell me about Newfane, Vermont. Tell me about the meeting you and I had where I got together with your GOP group, and just introduce yourself a little bit.
Well, I am Chris White. I am a native Newfane resident, left for many years and came back, and I'm very happy to be here. I'm active in the community. As you say, I'm active with the Republican group, and I'm concerned about what's going on.
And what do you mean by that? What are you concerned about?
I'm concerned about the deep divide I feel within the population.
Oh, okay. So you think, so what you're saying is that the deep divide, meaning Republicans and libtards. Is that what you're talking about?
Basically, yes. Yes, conservative and liberal.
So,
I tried to use a little softer, but yes, that's the essence.
So basically, so let me give you a little, everybody who's watching, a little bit of some background to how I met up with the Newfane GOP group. So one of my friends who's always watching the shows reached out to me and said, hey, look, can you come speak at the group? Can you talk to people and maybe discuss some public safety stuff? Because what they're noticing, they were very concerned that they were noticing some crime and drug elements and public safety concerns creeping up into their very rural community of Newfane, Vermont. Newfane, Vermont borders Brattleboro. So if you head up Route 30, you can run right into the town. It's a very nice, like beautiful, quaint little town. There's all kinds of wonderful people there. And consistently, they've been very Democratic. They're Democrat Party supporters, progressives, but that doesn't mean all of them. There are a lot of Republican supporters there, but we've got some work to do. So I came up and I met up with them and kind of talked about some ideas and ways that we could possibly work on recruitment of new GOP group members. And maybe motivate some people to get out there and hit the ballot box this coming year in 2026. And trying to come up with some ideas. So one of the things I just did is I mentioned this. I'm going to put the slide up again right here. My event coming up, and this was sort of a sample of an idea that I floated to their group. Was like, hey, let's have some fun. You know what I mean? Let's do something out of the box, outside the box. Let's try something a little bit different. Have like a rock concert, get a bunch of people motivated rather than just a speaking event, which some young people, might think is a little bit dry or whatever. And so, Chris, I'm going to get you at that. You're going to come down and rock out with us that night, September 17th.
I hope so. I hope so.
So tell me, what is your biggest topic? What would you bring up for Newfane, Vermont? What would politically, I know that you're a select board hopeful, possibly running. What are the issues?
Well, like you said, crime. The creeping crime is an issue. We're seeing more graffiti. We're seeing more vandalism, break-ins, things like that. And it just seems like it's slowly creeping in. And that seems inevitable with the way that Brattleboro is right now, that people are going to be moving out into the adjoining towns. And Route 30 is a great conduit for that. So that's
So one of the things I wanted to ask you about on top of that was, what about affordability? Like, because I see it in Brattleboro, but is that an issue out there in Newfane, like lack of housing, affordability, heating costs?
All of it. I mean, taxes are just killing us. It's absolutely killing us.
So
So
you saw an increase. Tell me about the increase that you guys are seeing out there.
a lot more graffiti for one thing, and just break-ins, people breaking into sheds and walking into people's houses, things disappearing, things going out of cars. It's nothing that feels life-threatening at this point, but I fear that that's what will happen.
That something that if we just allow for this slow creep of degeneracy basically and bad policy, lack of policing. One of the things I worry about with you guys is who's really patrolling Newfane. I mean, the Vermont State Police, they're spread so thin. Windham County Sheriff, they're spread so thin. You ever see cops out there?
We do see them occasionally, usually just stopping speeders. Of course, if there's an incident, an accident or something like that, they do get to it. But as far as people who might be, say somebody's trying to break in or whatever, you're on your own. You are on your own.
That's
Yeah.
very concerning.
Yeah,
because
tell
in
me
my
about
brain, what I see happening is when these people that maybe be around Brattleboro, maybe be addicted to drugs, they want to jump in some cars and head out to maybe do some robbing, maybe find some stuff to steal. Communities right outside of Brattleboro, Newfane, Guilford, Vernon, this is sort of like right where their minds go. Like, oh, we'll drive 10 miles out of town, rob something, head back into town, get away. And that so you're going to become victims of this more and more, the more this state doesn't have some reasonable approach to stopping crime, stopping drug addiction. We've got legislators and people in our government who seem to think that we need to defund or the police and decriminalize drug offenses and do all this other stuff.
Absolutely, and letting people out over and over and over again.
That's a huge pet peeve that we have, and I hear it over and over again with Vermonters, is like we just talked about with this machete guy, is that, he's out and about. They let these people out, and then this traditionally low bail or no bail just let out on recognizance, it's something the state's notorious for, and people are ticked off about it.
Well, why would they let them out and there's nothing to discourage them from doing it again because there's not going to be a penalty?
Right. It takes so long for them to get into court and to get something. And then a lot of times if they're homeless or they're what are they going to do? Fine them? If it's not a jailable offense, and even if it is, it's like, a year later, several other arrests all the way leading up into that. And then, what does it really ever come down to? Because I rarely ever see people going to jail. I could count on probably one hand the people that I know that have been sentenced and went to a year or more of jail, from all the crime, repeat offenders that I see in Brattleboro, and I know that that's statewide.
Absolutely. And that's really puts me, and I'm sure a lot of other people's, feeling very vulnerable.
Right. Like, what do you do? Do you, a few years ago, President Biden talked about pull the shotgun out and shoot it up into the air. My problem with that is I feel like if you did anything like that, I feel like you'd get in trouble in this very, very progressive state that I wouldn't want to be in this situation or feel like I have to be because laws are breaking down and things aren't going the way we want them to.
Yeah, and you'd be the one who ends up in jail. They don't jail anybody else, but boy, you'd be one.
Oh, yeah, 100%. It would be, then they would finally come down on you. It's sort of like what happened with the Putney incident. They have this situation with a police officer involved shooting of the man, rest in peace, and he was killed, and right off the bat, the activists started in saying mental health and why did the police officer shoot him? And it's like immediately, it's like they're just trying to figure out, it's like more like the police officer's in trouble than, oh, what did this guy do to make the police officer shoot him? No, the conversation immediately went to why did that police officer shoot this man? And to me, that's backwards.
Yeah, the people that are supposed to enforce the laws and the innocent citizens are taking the rap for all the people that do bad things.
Yeah. Okay. So let's read some comments. She goes, "Is she really worried about graffiti when we have zombies walking drug users on every corner? I'm not locking up and putting a surveillance camera around my house because all I have is graffiti." Laughing. Yeah. I mean, the thing about, okay. So to me, this comment, the thing about what I see when I think about Newfane, or I think about these communities a little bit outside of one of the big hubs. Like you got Burlington, we got Rutland, we got Brattleboro, and Bennington's up there too. But like, okay, they didn't sign up for this. Okay, they're living in Newfane. This is good old Vermont traditional lifestyle. Something like graffiti in a place like that, it is way outside of what they signed up for. Is it like a national emergency? No.
But that's where it starts, Hank. It starts with graffiti. It starts with little things, and it grows and it grows and it grows. And no, she's right. Graffiti isn't a danger to me. It bothers me when I have to have taxpayer dollars clean it up off the road, but it's not a public, nobody's in danger, but it is a signal of things to come. Where it has happened, it started with things like graffiti.
They said, I love the graffiti artwork on all of the trains. Okay, there's an element to it like that, but I'm telling you, trains is one thing, someone's business, somebody's property, and not everybody's a fan. Like, I mean, Vermont's supposed to be this pristine countryside with beautiful, views and everything. And graffiti and stuff like that, it ticks people off. Okay, I used to do graffiti when I was a kid. I know all about it. I know I've witnessed it. I know that people get super ticked off about it, and I've learned the hard way. And so I see both sides of the thing. There's a time and place for it, and Newfane is not that place. And like Chris is saying, this is just an indication that more and more they're seeing the stuff that usually is associated with towns like Brattleboro or Burlington is starting to seeping into the other everyday small town life in Vermont. And, they are joining the coalition of people starting to wake up in Vermont saying, hey, we got to stop this, and from what I've, from their GOP group, what I found was that, a lot of it was seemingly blaming on the left. And I know you've had a lot of discussions with some of the left voters that are in Newfane, and it's very prevalent, and these people are very vocal. Do you ever run into a situation where they take any credit or acknowledge that maybe some of their ideas have started to break down and resulted in bad results?
No.
No. What's up with that?
No.
They never acknowledge it.
It's almost like that they pity me for being so stupid.
Yeah. I get it. It's like they try to capture this high ground, like as if everything that they've done is this amazing feat, and that they're always on the right side of every argument, and that they're the one who's highly educated looking down, and how could someone be so dumb and uneducated to fall for this? And, it ticks people off. And I feel like that breakdown of just courtesy and respect of each other is like one of where most of our problems come from. You know, on our side, we like to tease them, you know. They like to disrespect us and call us uneducated. We like to meme them and make jokes and call them names. I mean, I started the segment off calling them all libtards. And you know, I don't know if the answer is to back off of it, because I will have to go ahead with this. They are pretty nasty, much more nasty than any of the Republicans that I've seen, especially in Vermont, as far as cancel culture, saying nasty things, getting on the internet and bullying people, even going as far as protesting businesses. You know, one of our media members here in Vermont, Paul Bean, he's got a small business up in what town is it? Northfield, Vermont, where he had Beans Creamies. It was like a creamy stand, hot dogs, yak burgers, stuff like that. And, you know, they just went crazy on him, calling him racist and calling him all this crazy science denier, and really went as far as saying they're going to protest his business, contacted a band that he had booked for his car show, and got the band to cancel their event. And it was all just based off of him being a Republican in general.
Yes. And one of the big problems is for people who want to run for an office as a Republican, or who even speak out that they are a Republican, a lot of the people in Newfane are small business owners, and they are dependent on everybody's business. And they won't say anything because they can't afford to lose the business. And I've got a lot of sympathy for that.
Yeah, I think that sometimes we're going to need to start to rip the Band-Aid off of that. Like, okay, so are you defending your business and trying not to tick off your customers because you want to? It's very hard to do business in a small town in Vermont. There's not always a lot of customers, so you need the customers that you can get. But if you shut your mouth and let the policies and the town-wide votes get out of control, and we just chase down the wrong plan over and over, year after year, decade after decade, and then we turn Newfane into a new low-income housing, drug crime area. I mean, talk to the residents of Putney who have walked down this exact road, and they are so nervous that they're going to become exit 4, the 4th exit of Brattleboro, Vermont, because they got that Wyndham Windsor housing, low-income housing apartment complex going up. They're freaked out about it, and rightly so. They've had a number, I mean, now the shooting, but they've had a number of that woman was run over by drug users who were high, driving around, and nodded out and ran over this old lady and killed her. You know, it's showing up in our communities, and you're not wrong to want to put a stop to it. And we need to get these people to have the courage to not worry that their business or their lifestyle, you know, their good name, it doesn't make you a bad person to say, hey, look, I'm against decriminalizing drugs and prostitution. You know, I'm against jacking up heating costs based off of climate change stuff in this state and making it so that normal people can't afford to live or heat or have a good future. You know, like, we have to be able to say what we feel. You know, we've gotten to this weird place in America where we used to all be able to just have what our opinion is, and if we didn't agree, we'd say, agree to disagree, and we could talk about it, and we all go back to work. Now it's like, if you don't agree with me, I'm getting you fired, I'm destroying your business, and I'm going to call you a racist online, which that word has gotten watered down over the years.
It's really sad. I just wish so much that we could concentrate on the things we all agree on and work on solutions and stop this back and forth nonsense, because it's getting us in a worse place.
Oh, it's going to have consequences. And I always say this. Some of the other segments that I have coming up in the show, we're discussing some federal cuts. We're discussing some immigration issues. And in our little old state of Vermont, we are broke. We're broke. We have spent all our money, and we've spent it on stuff that and we always act like, oh, well, where's the money? When we spend it on climate change and different nonprofits and schools and trying to help people and doing things a little bit different than other states might do it. And then we try to tackle the federal government on ideals. And then when they start kicking back at us, it's like jaw drops, like, oh, why are you doing this? And I think we're going to start seeing that more and more. I guess what my point is like Vermont can't always take it. We're very dependent on the federal government. We need to sort of like worry about our problems and stop trying to do everything based off of activism to save the world from Vermont. That brave little state concept is sort of biting us right now. We're feeling the heat. Like bills like the big, beautiful bill are great across the board, but like that's going to get us. That's going to get us,
Well, how much really do you think that all the money that's been spent in the state of Vermont for climate initiatives is going to improve the quality around the world? Zero.
None.
0, 0, 0. Yep. And
Yeah,
we're paying
shout
for
out.
it. We are paying for it.
So Lauren Tiller writes in and she says, people who are concerned about the safety of everyone and the way things have unfolded shouldn't have to live in fear to express that. Honestly, seems like coercion. The far left is just about into authoritarianism, communism at this point. Some of them already are. And that's a good point. They all want to scream about Trump cleaning up crime, and he's got them on like the wrong side of the argument, like seemingly defending criminals. But then they're very quick, and I've got a segment coming up about the Bernie Sanders and the RFK hearing and some of the leftists who had meltdowns with Bobby yesterday. But it's like, you guys you were very quick to be authoritarian when it came to COVID and policing what people are saying or doing, or you are racist, you need to be fired. They want to use power, and then they're so quick to call everything fascist.
Do you know, I call it virtue signaling.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly. Explain it.
What's that?
Go ahead. Explain virtue signaling.
Well, it's a little bit of a hard concept to explain, but it's when you do things or say things to make yourself look virtuous and kind and big-hearted and to make yourself look good.
Yeah. Yes. And I feel like that is the essence of, like, I make fun of them, all the co-op shoppers and these people. It's like they want you to see them with their reusable bags and their Prius to save the environment and their donation to Groundworks, the homeless shelter, or whatever other liberal nonprofit that they think is helping. And it's sort of like we had a discussion at our Brattleboro GOP meeting about electric cars, and we traced down the batteries and the cobalt, and it's like you uncover, it's like, this is not actually helping. This is far worse. You're literally using children's slavery in Africa that are working for communist Chinese cobalt mines with their bare hands, and it's like evil and way worse and like destroying the world, and then they're driving away like with their head high, like they're like doing something better than somebody driving a gas-powered car. And we've found this over and over again throughout a lot of these ideals that people bring up, that it's like, it's not actually doing what you say you're doing. You know, like I exposed with Groundworks. You know, this is a homeless shelter is not actually really helping out. There's a lot of money going on. There's a lot of drug use. There's overdoses all the time. There's fighting. There's arrests. There's, you know, there was sexual scandals. There was, you know, why are people making $100,000+ to work at a homeless shelter? Like there's stuff. It's, you know, and you got to take a deeper look, you know, and it's a style that we have here in Vermont, the Vermont progressives.
But don't you actually think that the legislature as a whole is virtue signaling?
100%.
They're not taking care of Vermonters. They're sending out this message to the world. They think that we do things so much better and we're so concerned about everybody. And they're concerned about everybody else and walking all over us.
Yes. And so I've been reading and developing a lot of stuff, thinking about how it goes. And there was a saying, because we have 3 electoral votes in Vermont. And then my good buddy Mark Coaster, he says, yeah, but we got 2 senators. So the power, like you can act like we don't have the power here. We have the power. We're very small and we have 2 senators. So you get into Congress, we have a big voice still. You got Bernie Sanders, we got Peter Welch, we got Becca. Okay, and so we have just as much oomph as some other places, okay, and that's a big deal. And one of the things that I see happening is I feel like a lot of these programs with benefits and free handouts and lax laws is a way, it's sort of packing the state with maybe some low quality voters. I mean, do you see that concept that maybe it's like, you know, you're getting a good deal on benefits. You're a homeless person. You're going to do a lot better here than you are in Florida. You know, you're going to do a lot better to have low income housing. There's a lot of bottom style people. And our best and brightest, say you got a kid, you know, like my son who's got a lot going for him, man, he's already he's in college planning his escape. He's like, what I want to do is go over to this state and get a really good job working for this big company because the housing's cheaper there. I have a better life, you know, and we're losing our best and brightest and we're gaining 212% increase, first state in homelessness increase. And what I feel like, why are they doing this is because people like Bernie require people that want that type of freebies and handouts and the government in his style. That's how he basically secures himself into these positions for as long as he has.
And by every one of those, it lets somebody else know and they come, and then somebody else knows and they come, and we're getting overrun.
Well, yeah, we've been overrun, and it's getting worse, you know? And so why I invited Chris on was basically I wanted to discuss some of the things legislature-wise and some of the problems and what life in some of the places outside Brattleboro, regular Newfane, Vermont, are starting to notice. And so, like, you know, thank you for your report, but, you know, she's telling us that crime and graffiti and BS is starting to creep up into Newfane, and they're looking for ways to stop it. So tell me about your thinking about running for select board again. Have you made a decision?
No, and I probably won't till I see how the sitting members decide what they're going to do. If we have good people doing a great job who want to run again, I don't want to run against them and divide the vote. I want to support them. So,
a little strategy.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. Why would we divide the vote? The very little bit of votes that we get, we don't want to divide them. So I want to work with the other people. I feel like I have things to offer to the town, but I'm willing to work in any way that I can to make it better.
Yeah. And what I'm hoping to have happen is I'll put it back up. We have this event here in Brattleboro, and I would love to work with people in Newfane and get something like this going on in Newfane and all of the other towns in Windham County to sort of help drum up some support. Again, this is the Constitution Day 1787 American for Prosperity event hosted by Planet Hank. We're featuring the band Intercept, who is wild, and this is going to happen at Bar 580 from 6 to 9 p.m. on September 17th. Everybody's welcome. There's a link on the event site and on the AFP social medias where you click on the link and they will register yourself and you get free food and a free drink voucher. I mean, you can't beat it. Free food, free drink, free band, free event. And we're trying to make it, and so I would love, like we all discussed at the meeting that I was at in Newfane, to figure out one of these events for you guys.
We would like to do that too. We're just a very small band of people that are already working too many hours a week. We'll put together what we can.
Yes, ma'am. Well, Chris, thank you for coming on. It was a great conversation.
Thank you very much for having me. And you have a good evening.
You too.
Bye.
Chris White, Newfane, Vermont. Later. So that was pretty cool having a guest. I'm going to try to get more guests on to try to show what's going on in the communities, what's going on in Vermont. Obviously, just a very nice woman out of Newfane, Vermont. It gives you a little tidbit of what, some people are feeling the pressure moving up from Brattleboro, moving up from these areas. It's not all just Brattleboro, doom and gloom. Man, I feel bad for them. They didn't sign up for this. So that was pretty cool. Let's go on to discuss this very next story that I have. Okay. Yes, here we go. So let me go ahead and play you this little segment here. Okay, so President Trump ordered a military strike on a Venezuelan speedboat, destroying 11 alleged narco-terrorists in the Caribbean. And it was dope. And they got it all on video, and people are having meltdowns about it. I got a little video here about it. Let me go ahead and throw this up. What the? There we go.
Drug shipment from Venezuela.
We just, over the last few minutes, literally shot out a boat, a drug-carrying boat.
Unclassified drone video shared from the president last night appears to show a speedboat going up in flames. Though Venezuela's communications minister claims on social media the footage was created with artificial intelligence. The Pentagon says the strike killed 11 members of the Tren de Aragua gang. No U.S. forces were harmed.
Crazy. So we have, it says, connect the strike. Okay, so the drug trafficking, that is literally like the connection. Trump shoots a boat out of the air, and then Venezuelan people were like, oh, that's an AI video. That wasn't real. This is AI. And our Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, had to come out and be like, no, it's real. We blew up the boat. It shows the speedboat exploding in international waters carrying drugs aimed for the U.S. So, I mean, it's dope. Watching the president do what he's supposed to do, blowing up cartel boats, keeping people safe. They just brought in a bunch of cartel. They extradited them back to the U.S. so that they could prosecute them. And I guarantee you that some of these arrests, there was a huge arrest in New Hampshire involving all kinds of cartel leaders and drug distribution operations and stuff. And I guarantee that's happening all across the nation, all because of the work like this. What you're supposed to be doing. holding cartels accountable, stopping the border from being a wipeout for drug smuggling. And it's always fun to pretend like, oh, well, Vermont, we're not affected by this. Yes, we are. We are in a full-out opioid crisis. Where do you think it's coming from? It's coming from cartels. It's coming from gangs. It's coming from Mexico. It's coming across that open border, and the smuggling rings are making a fortune off of, targeting stupid small states like Vermont who can't pull it together, and we're all worried about virtue signaling like Chris said. It's ridiculous. The U.S. Navy's Caribbean presence, warships and troops showing Trump's resolve to stop drugs. Critics were questioning the strike's legality, but frame it as essential for national and local safety. It's crazy. You get the Democrats right off the bat. But was he allowed to stop the drug boat? What about, are they just Maryland fathers coming across? How dare he stop their criminals and drug smugglers? Ridiculous. We need people to back this type of energy. It's one thing to make our local legislature build up the police, stop the drugs, call them out, do all that in town. We got to stop the flow of drugs into our communities from drug cartels. At the end of the day, our local drug dealers, they're broke too. Okay? You got these cartels that are making hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars off of selling poison like fentanyl and cocaine into the United States. It's ridiculous. Liberal critics coddle smugglers, then secure. They'd rather coddle the smugglers than secure the borders. It's ridiculous. It's embarrassing, really. So, moving on. So, we had this hilarious, I'm going to play this clip here, this hilarious hearing involving Robert Kennedy Jr. and all of the leftists. So, Senator Ron Wyden's attacks during the hearings distort his record. Wyden cherry picks out of context quotes. Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, they all freaked out about this anti-vaccine RFK allegation. Kennedy's kids being vaccinated. RFK said that he was pro-science. Wyden claims that RFK Jr. endangers children, is fear-mongering, not fact-based, and dismisses Kennedy's push for safer, transparent. Watch this video. You'll get the gist.
PAC money for the pharmaceutical industry. Democrats as well. Everybody is corrupt, but you? Is that what we're looking at? I don't think so. And I think the issue now...
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Well, I think you do know what I'm talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The issue is every time anyone disagrees with you...
Are you saying the pharmaceutical industry was supporting my presidential campaign?
No, I'm saying...
I don't think so.
I'm not saying that.
I didn't. I never promised that I was going to recommend products with which there is no indication.
When you said...
And I know you've taken $855,000 from pharmaceutical companies, Senator.
Did you hold up a big sign saying that you were lying?
Denied that.
Well, they aren't. Everybody can get the vaccine.
Because you are citing data that you won't produce to the public.
You're just
and you
making
are
things up.
rejecting
You're
science.
making things up to scare people, and it's a lie.
With respect, I do not think I'm the one making things
you
up.
are
Thank you,
lying
Mr. Chair.
right now.
So, these people, they're out of their minds, okay? They took all the money. Bernie Sanders has taken like $25 million since 1990 from the pharmaceutical company. He had a meltdown of that. Oh, you're saying anybody who's corrupt? It's like, dude, the guy that you're talking to, RFK, is the least bought by the pharmaceutical companies. Stop it. He's pushing back against them. You should be on his team. You're acting like you are for the people. In a fiery exchange, RFK Jr. confronted Bernie Sanders over accepting pharmaceutical money, accusing him of being the single largest recipient in Congress in 2020 at around $1.5 million. while Sanders insisted it comes from workers, not PACs or executives. Open secret data shows he received $1.4 million from pharma and health products resources, more than any other senator, highlighting Big Pharma's influence even on self-proclaimed reformers. The son of Robert F. Kennedy and nephew of President John F. Kennedy, RFK embodies the true spirit of American heroism, fighting for justice, the environment, and the little guy. He's a national treasure, carrying the torch of his family's legacy against tyranny and corporate greed. RFK's appeal spans left and right, resonating with podcasters for challenging big pharma and government overreach, and it's hilarious. It was hilarious to watch him. And our boy J.D. Vance nailed it. And I'm going to read this out. He said, when I see all these senators trying to lecture and gotcha Bobby Kennedy today, all I can think is, you all support off-label, untested, and irreversible hormonal therapies for children, mutilating our kids and enriching big pharma. You are full of shit and everybody knows it. Man, dropping bombs. J.D. Vance continues. He continues to roast the left. The only person who roasts the left better than J.D. Vance at this point is Donald Trump. But J.D. nails it. So they're freaking out about COVID vaccines and calling RFK a vaccine denier, a science denier, anti-vaxxer. Meanwhile, they let in, 20 million unvaccinated, undocumented illegals to race across the border. So which is it? Are you all freaked out about COVID and everybody needs to have a mask and a vaccine? Or should we have 20 to 60 million illegals here who you have no idea where they came from, haven't vetted them, don't know if they're criminals, don't know if they're vaxxed, don't care? Which is it? You got to pick one. And then on top of it, like J.D. Vance pulls out all of this crazy ass trans treatment stuff that they're doing. And, who benefits from that? They all took huge dollars, including Elizabeth Warren. He calls them right out on it. $855,000. $1,000. That's a lot of money, okay? Especially to be up there bitching at him like you are on the right side of the argument. You're not on the right side of the argument. You took the money. Shut the fuck up, Pocahontas. Kennedy's vision for reform. RFK Jr. champions a healthier America, tackling chronic disease and corporate influence in healthcare. Wyden's fixation on vaccine skepticism overshadows Kennedy's broader mission to restore trust in public health. Listeners, don't let Wyden's distortions define RFK Jr. or Bernie Sanders and Warren and Hassan and all of them. They're all just freaking out at RFK because he was on the DNC side, and then when Trump gave him, secretary position for where he's at, all of a sudden, now they hate him. Now they have to find any way to cancel him. He's crazy. They say the nastiest stuff about that guy, and it's disgusting. They literally need to knock it off. We see right through your BS. You're just mad that he picked the Trump cabinet rather than sticking with the DNC, who was wrong because he wanted to get to work working for us to make America healthy again, rather than join the resistance of doing nothing and lying to us about COVID. They shut our businesses down. They destroyed this country. They used fascism and authoritarianism. They did all of the things that they're criticizing everybody else for doing. And it's ridiculous. We all already know that. Okay? There's so many people didn't take the vaccine and would never have taken that vaccine. Moving on. She goes, embezzled. She goes, but Hank, they live by the good for me, not for thee mentality. The left will deny the science if it doesn't bolster their stances. 100%. They're totally ridiculous. He goes, RFK Jr. only got the jab because Trump told him that he would find room for him if he bailed out of the presidential race. She says, to obey our president, but communication between powerful state representatives involves splitting and spitting and pointing and shouting and stinking. Doesn't Bernie look stinky? Yes, he does. He looks like he eats egg salad sandwiches like every day. Like he's got like a nasty like bagged lunch with a stinky egg salad sandwich with like a mushy apple with it. And it'd be like, go sit down, Grandpa. Eat your egg salad. Huh? Get out of here. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to see you again. Go take your nap. You know what I mean? Get your mittens out. He goes, for 20 years, these losers don't say shit. But now they want to blame RFK. Exactly. That was one of the best lines that RFK said. He called them all out individually and said, y'all have been here for 25 years in these seats. And you have done nothing but watch the health of this country plummet. And now it's his fault for trying to do the right thing and make sure that products that they're giving to people are regulated and have gone through the correct processes. It's ridiculous. She said, he's disgusting, gross. The younger generation gets a front row to this circus, and he's going to think that not only do we not have. Exactly. What we really need to do is judges do their jobs properly and don't keep releasing repeat offenders until they literally kill someone. 100%. It's happened several times. It's getting crazy. She says, Bernie is a stinky, lazy old hippie. She said that was a two-part. Yeah, my bad. Okay, and now let's get into another huge debate, which is hilarious, and I love doing it.
Benefits for those who desperately need it and deserve it and qualify for it. What we're talking about is rooting out the fraud, waste, and abuse. Every taxpayer, it doesn't matter what party you're in, you should be for that because it saves your money and it preserves the programs so that it is available for the people who desperately need it. That's what we're about.
They've proposed a budget that gives massive tax cuts to the wealthiest and to corporations. And how will they pay for it? They will pay for it by making cuts to Medicaid, to the tune of $880 billion, and deep cuts to SNAP benefits, food assistance to families. And on top of that, they will add to the deficit. When I vote against this Republican budget, I'll be thinking of all of the working families back home in Vermont.
She's so quick to award herself the virtue signaling in Chris's terms about how she's always so worried about the working families in Vermont. She's missing what Speaker Johnson was saying. His entire point, the entire point of targeting waste, fraud, and abuse in Big Beautiful Bill is to protect programs that we want to help people who deserve them. If you are sitting home smoking pot, playing Xbox, and should have a job, like if I was just laying around at home using Medicaid, using SNAP benefits, smoking weed, not working, that's abusing the system. That's taking benefits that you don't deserve. And if you're illegals, now, Vermont is reeling from the July 2025 One Big Beautiful Bill slashing SNAP funding by 20% to end wasteful spending. Up to 4,000 residents, including able-bodied Vermont's able-bodied adults, face reduced or lost benefits under stricter eligibility and work rules, finally reversing the Biden era bloat. So Vermont has a high error rate of over 6%. So it faces the state to foot part of the benefits, exposing liberal mismanagement. Sharing recipient data with the feds roots out abuse in programs set for a $300 billion in decade-long savings, protecting all of our hardworking taxpayers. So our governor, Republican Phil Scott, stepped up, sharing SNAP data like names, addresses, to comply with federal law, finally, despite the Dems' privacy. They had a meltdown. What about privacy? And how dare you? Becca lost it. Welch lost it. All of them saying, oh, they're making the beautiful bill to benefit billionaires. It's not to benefit billionaires. It's to stop fraud, waste, and abuse. We should not be paying for people to get on SNAP and Medicaid who should have a job and should be paying like everybody else. That is BS. And I've got a bombshell in here from an insider who works on a SNAP board and was telling me a lot of actual details, and this is going to blow your mind. Okay, so sharing SNAP data with names, addresses, despite Dems' privacy hysteria, he pushed back on overreach, refusing immigration details, showing pragmatic leadership among chaos. Federal law has required, this is the bombshell. So, federal law has required people to be in this country for 6 years, minimum of 6 years, to be eligible for SNAP benefits. This has not been abided by. And it's funny how I say that. Abided. It's not been Biden. It's been Biden breaking the rules on that. It has not been abided by. State employees are now being held to enforce existing federal laws that were already on the books. Recipients who are in the country 6 years, that's a minimum. That has not been happening. The Biden administration was handing out Social Security numbers to immigrants whose status was unclear, whether it was illegal, undocumented, or otherwise less than 6 years, giving them a Social Security number, which was basically a walk around to get people benefits they were not eligible for. So the states are being reimbursed from the federal government for dispensing benefits. And the BBB, the One Big Beautiful Bill, basically puts a stop to that waste, fraud, and abuse and targets people who have not been eligible, who they figured out how to give them a Social Security number. And you got these liberal state employees who are just like, whatever, here you've got the number, and they're sneaking the benefits out to them. This is a situation of a liberals misusing our programs for pet projects. They all want the illegals in. They want their sanctuary cities. They want to be able to jack up those census numbers. They want to be able to stack the ballots. We all know it. That's why they lose their minds when anything immigration comes up. They're misusing programs for pet projects and shoveling funds to illegals or criminals or whoever. Now we are protecting the funds. That's the important part. One Big Beautiful Bill protects the funds for the most vulnerable demographics. Do not let them hijack our good intentions with these workaround scams to shovel it to people who shouldn't be getting it at all. There should not be men getting benefits while they smoke weed, play Xbox with no job. Drug addicts should not be using funds that were intended for struggling single moms, the very sick, people who deserve those benefits. Don't let them this is heartless. That's what they try to do every time. Becca, Bernie, Welch, all the Democrats, you see them all over X and all their social. Oh, this is heartless. You're trying to steal the benefits and take food out of children's mouths to enrich billionaires and the oligarchy. That is just a nonsense line, because what they want is money being shoveled to their illegal pet project of all of these people who rushed across our border, illegal aliens, and stacking them in their sanctuary cities, trying to bolster up their actual numbers on censuses. It's a scam. It always was. And yes, they're not getting our benefits. Yes, they are. And they're finding these walkarounds, and this is a big one. And thank you to my source on this. I think it was a big one. Giving out Social Security numbers to subvert the 6-year minimum to get SNAP benefits. Man, I would love to be able to staple down exactly how many times that occurred nationwide and see how much money that specifically has cost us. People who did not meet the 6-year requirement, who were given Social Security numbers, and state employees were basically just like, okay, yeah, well, we'll just give them the benefits. Liberal meltdowns from Balin and Welch. They ranted about the devastating rural impacts, voting no and rallying advocates in Barrie. Senator Peter Welch hosted farmers market sob sessions claiming 6,000 plus at risk and hurting local farms. Like, you have to be eligible to get SNAP. Why are you, like, I don't even see what you're advocating. It reminds me of when they all just are now protesting Trump cleaning up crime in D.C. Like, you're supporting the criminals? Like, what are you, so you don't want people who are defrauding the SNAP benefit program to be stopped? You want the frauds and people who do not qualify for these programs to get benefits? That's crazy. Why not just give them to everybody then? It's nuts. And then this huge hypocrisy on the whole topic with climate spending. While they cry over SNAP, they've backed Vermont's bloated climate schemes, which have had zero impact globally on anything. Spending $350 million a year on climate initiatives and playing into their super PACs and PAC agenda, and then crying that we don't have the money. Like, why don't we, if you're so worried about 6,000 people losing their SNAP, why don't you take a few $1 million out of wasteful climate BS pet projects and send it over to those families? Why don't you advocate for that? VPIRG, the virtue signaling machine, pushes endless climate change LGBT projects with huge PAC cash. Over $600,000 dumped into balanced races alone. They demand spending on trendy causes while silent on real fiscal reform. Time to defund these hypocrites. It's done. We're done with it. It's ridiculous. 1 in 10 Vermonters on SNAP. Liberal policies breed handouts, creating communities that draw low-level voters and welfare seekers while driving out the best and brightest. This exodus secures Dems' congressional seats by packing ballots with handout-dependent folks. I just talked about this with Chris. They love the idea that people need SNAP, that people need benefits, they need handouts, and then they'll always vote for the people giving them the freebies. We don't want the state packed with that. We want this state to feel like there's a ton of opportunities, there's a ton of potential, etc. It's ridiculous. This is how they trick millions of people. Well, no, 600,000 people. They try to pull the veil over their everybody's eyes in Vermont, package all of their nonsense like it's virtue signaling. Then we are just there to help. You know, it's what do they want? What do they want in exchange for them helping you? Is they want you to vote them into those seats so that they have power forever. And Bernie sits up there and drones on about the oligarchy. Dog, you're the oligarch. You've been there for so long. You've taken so much money, $25 million from the pharmaceuticals since the 90s. Dog, that's a lot of money. We're not buying it, Bernie. You're done. Moving on. We have another issue with Amazon that wanted to come in. This is more of the leftist BS. So this week, September 2025, Amazon's appeal to overturn Essex July's rejection of a 107,000 square foot distribution center hit a wall. Vermont's environmental court upheld the Development Review Board's 4-2 vote, citing insufficient traffic and environmental data. Leftist NIMBYs, NIMBY means not in my backyard, cheered, claiming victory over corporate greed. While Essex stays jobless. lefty hysteria exposed. They do this all the time. It's nuts. It's nuts that they even let this happen at all. Like, you don't jobs, you don't want to have any potential. They've done this in Vermont for so long. They screamed about traffic, stormwater, and Vermont values, ignoring the 200 or 300 jobs it would have brought. Their meltdowns were fueled by anti-billionaire rhetoric, even though all of their parties are funded way more by billionaires, crypto scams, and dark money, and globalist freaking agenda, but then scream billionaire like it's a dirty word. It's ridiculous. We have a job desert in Vermont. There's nothing here. We are a wasteland in Vermont. There are no jobs. High taxes and regulations chase businesses away. From 2015 to 2025, 1,200 businesses closed statewide, with 2024 seeing a net loss of 511 firms. Young talent flees, deaths outpace births by thousands yearly, gutting the workforce. Liberal policies prioritize handouts over opportunity. In Brattleboro is a failure. Home Depot is a perfect example of this town being so out of touch. They wouldn't allow Home Depot to come into the area, and it still sits there as a monument of failure. Right next to Hannaford's in the plaza, there's a whole Home Depot built, hasn't been used, nothing's been done. All because of we wouldn't want to have a corporation. Ridiculous nonsense. There's rumors of C&S wholesale grocers eyeing an exit. 2025 layoffs hitting. Since 2020, 15% of downtown businesses have closed. Sam's Outfitters, Hermit Thrush Brewery, Ghislaine's Vermont Shop, Lisa Shippey, Scissor Master on Elliott is closing now. She's been posting all kinds of stuff about it. There's tons of businesses in downtown that are dying, and more will get closed, all because of this. All because you want to overregulate, overtax, and cause all of these problems. They are obsessed with this playbook. Scare voters with corporate evil, greed, while fostering dependency to secure ballots. It's ridiculous. Oh, the children, you're taking food out of their mouths. Oh, we couldn't possibly have an Amazon distribution center here. Think about the billionaires. Oh, you're cutting waste, fraud, and abuse to benefit billion. What are you talking about? Everything is this scare tactic and virtue saying no, you don't care about anything except getting yourselves elected. And then you take all the money yourselves. You're crying to RFK about pharmaceutical companies. You are the people who took the money. Ballin and Welch, backed by VPERG 600K and Pat Cash for climate and LGBT projects, cry about jobs, but cheer when businesses like Amazon get blocked. Path forward, we got to slash taxes, cut the red tape, cut the regulations. We need to make it easier to build in this state. We've got all these crazy climate acts blocking expansion so that it always ends up into these weird courtroom brawls and select board discussions where the progressives come in and outvote anybody's opinion or anybody's opportunities. It's ridiculous. Anti-business dogma is destroying Vermont. It's got to go. We're done with it. Moving on because I'm getting pissed about that. And why don't we go ahead and do something fun like check in with the weather. Friday, it's rain. Saturday, rain, 82. Sunday, rain all weekend. But look at that. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 70 degrees, getting a little chillier out, but we got sun. We got sun on the way. Planet Hank live show, usually Thursday. It's Friday now. And I'm just going to throw it up one more time. I'm going to throw it up several more times, actually. September 17th, 6 to 9. American for Prosperity's Constitution Day 1787, hosted by myself, Planet Hank, featuring the band Intercept, who rock. Bar 580. You got to register to get free food and a drink. We want to know who's coming. Make sure you're there. This is going to be a big one. We're going to talk a lot of stuff. We're going to have a really good time. It's important that we see support from our people, and this is going to be fun. This isn't going to be some boring political event. It's going to be fun. Make sure you check in on my events page on my Facebook and let everybody know. Put some comments on there. Share it up. Get some people. Make a plan now to get over there. Okay, so this one, I posted up this video.
Brattleboro, Vermont. Officers received a noise complaint in the area of Ledgewood Drive in South Brattleboro. Upon arriving, it was revealed a woman was throwing items out of her second floor picture window, including plates and other items that were smashing.
Objects out here that you need to take care of.
I just heard you say that. You're coming back to check. Good.
No.
Be gone. Goodbye.
Listen.
No.
You need to get that immediately. I will come back and check for the other trash. If that's not taken care of, then we're going to address that. It will be gone as soon as you get the hell out of here. Okay.
Goodbye.
Brattleboro officers asked the woman to come out and clean up the mess and to stop making so much noise. She became irate and argumentative with the officers.
Yeah, because I'm getting anxious. This is embarrassing enough as it is. So you sitting here with all your fucking lights on, having all my neighbors wake up, seeing like shit, this just defeats the purpose of doing it at night.
Right, our lights are waking them up, not the plates breaking and all that.
Because there's so much breaking. Good night.
Eventually, she came down and agreed to clean up her mess. Neighbors were concerned because some plates and broken glass had hit their vehicles, but there was no visible damage. The officers issued her a citation to appear in court at a later date for disorderly conduct.
A stuffed animal and
Alexis,
a memory foam.
Look at what's on the ground. It was more than a stuffed animal.
One big rope.
Look at all this stuff.
It's a blanket.
Okay.
Look, it's laughing about
All right, well, I'm not going to argue with you. You have your night in court. There's your copy. Have a safe night. Thank you.
Okay, so I love that video. That video is absolutely blowing up on my Facebook. And it sparked this huge debate. Okay? It sparked this huge debate. She said, I'll have my ass off. Matt Moody says, that guy with a dog in his bike trailer ain't me, just saying. He goes, everything is going online shopping. Brattleboro will be like Springfield, Mass by 2030. Dang, that's whack, 100%. Brattleboro blocked Walmart, so they built it right next door in Hinsdale and track all the... Okay. She goes, she looks like a keeper. Oh, my God. So the video is blowing up across social media. Posted this week, September. It shows the woman in Brattleboro hurling plates and items from her second-story window late at night. The neighbors were pissed. And so she was cited for disorderly conduct. And there's all kinds of comments. Okay? And just like always that we're dealing with in Brattleboro, immediately, as we're passing 175 live viewers, so don't forget that we're streaming with tons of success, and the show is a big hit, and we have lots of viewers, and there are patriots in this state and across this country who support this, as certain people seemingly get scared to speak up and to do the right thing. There's tons of this. This show's a hit. We got a lot of people watching across all of these live streams. So lots of people were criticizing me, were criticizing mental health treatment. So what do you think? Write in the comments what you think. Do you think that this woman is in a mental health crisis and deserves some sort of leeway in this situation, that she should basically get a pass, or that they should have helped her, or they were wrong for citing her for disorderly conduct. There were smashed plates that were broken and all the way out to where the cars are parked in the parking lot, which had hit their cars and bumpers. So the neighbors called the police. So lots of these virtue signaling liberals get on there and try to criticize me and cancel me and say horrible things about me, saying that she's battling mental health. She needed compassion and services to help her, while others were insisting that she's on drugs and she was acting out of control. The debate rages. Is this a cry for help, or another addict enabled by Vermont's soft on crime policies? So the left denies this drug crisis. They push the mental health angle while ignoring Brattleboro's opioid epidemic. Governor Phil Scott just posted all of the stats of all of the deaths that we've had. It's heinous here. We've had way too many deaths in this little tiny state, and our opioid crisis is going unchecked. Vermont's 2025 opioid overdose deaths hit record highs. Yet the leftists like Ballin and Welch dodged the drug connection, blaming the stigma while enabling chaos with lax laws. They want to decriminalize using fentanyl. They voted against the Halt Fentanyl Act. They're full of it. So her citation for disorderly conduct is a slap on the wrist. Brattleboro, 16% spike in police calls since 2023 shows a town overwhelmed by public drug use and disturbances. This is low-income housing where people live and have children, and children are literally in bed, sleeping, or getting ready. I can't remember if it was on the weekend or a weeknight, and it's like, dude, there's kids listening to this. There's kids watching you yell. There's police out there. She had a point. There's blue lights. There's blue lights everywhere. It's embarrassing. Okay. Then don't throw everything out of your window all crazy like that, smash plates, and your neighbors won't call the cops on you. You know what I mean? She goes, hopefully her charge comes with some community service. Jen Formel writes, all of this is immensely disturbing, but true. I held my 17-year-old daughter. This is the news you learn at Burr and Burton. It's a reality in your backyard. Rachel says, there's no pass. They never gave me a pass for anything there. I had to walk on eggshells. But then you have people living there and the state pays for their rent. Meanwhile, I worked and they pushed me out. Yeah, okay, that right there. No, she's fucked up on drugs, which caused the mental health as an excuse. So, I mean, I agree. Now, then immediately they started in with this like, yeah, but don't you realize that people have mental health problems and that's why they're using drugs? I mean, maybe, but like, that's not an excuse. Like, that this mental health thing doesn't give you an excuse to use substances or abuse people or do disorderly conduct. You're not allowed to act that way just because you've got some issues going on. You have to have accountability. If you've got mental problems, you need to get those handled before it ends up like this. This isn't the first time. He says it goes both ways. And I agree. You could have legitimate mental health issues and need help and have a breakdown. Okay. I start to get hesitant doling out compassion to people shooting up fentanyl every day, smoking crack, selling drugs, fighting people, robbing them, stealing guns, doing whatever, okay? You start to form this habit and this characterization, and it's not because, oh, well, you got mental health issues, okay? Back when I was drinking and fighting and beating people up and acting crazy out of the Marine Corps, people were like, bro, you can't do that. That's chargeable. You're under arrest. Put it all in the newspapers. Yeah, it wasn't great, okay? But what I did was go down there and plead guilty to that. Own it. Because not everybody who's getting fucked up and partying and doing drugs and smoking crack is doing it because they're sad. They're doing it because they want to get high and party and get fucked up. That is part of it. And we need to be able to differentiate that. This definitely shows a unique situation. And that's why I make these videos. I make these videos because I want people to have a chance to see stuff that's going on and have a public discussion about it. I want to hear both sides of the story. I don't dislike you for disagreeing with me. A lot of people think that that's why. Even if I come out of you and I'm debating you or I'm saying, you know, having like an exchange, there's lots of people who insult me and we go back and forth in the comments. If you haven't checked out my social media, especially my Facebook, head over there. Consider subscribing for $2. And you see all kinds of extras, and including I've got some extras involving this woman that'll be coming out very shortly, which may paint a different picture in some of y'all's minds about whether this is drug addiction or mental health. Okay, our very next segment is the Brattleboro Commons is absolute garbage. Oh my God. Garbage leftist bias on Brattleboro's homeless. Okay, this is leftist propaganda at their finest. Now, they posted this article called "In Brattleboro, a cleanup trashes belongings of unhoused people." Okay, and it came out in the latest comments, and it was nauseating, infuriating. Several people contacted me, pissed off at their audacity. It drips with radical bias, sanctifying homeless encampments while demonizing cleanups and town workers. CB Hall wails about lost tents, but ignores the real trash, needles, rotting food, feces, turning Brattleboro into a biohazard zone. That's another thing. If you're out and you ever are in some of these areas behind buildings or wherever, there is human feces out there on the ground. You got to watch out. You can't just walk back there. You'll step in it. You go behind Dunkley's. You go down by the river. You go down anywhere behind one of these public buildings. There'll be areas, and people have snuck back there and used the bathroom. Wendy Harrison's disastrous votes. Wendy Harrison, a far-left darling, backed a $161 million homeless spending and voucher program in 2024, bloating bureaucracy while decriminalizing drug possession. Ridiculous. So I talk about this a lot. If you all know anything about Brattleboro, you know that our hotel voucher programs have been a complete disaster, okay? Backing a bill to spend $161 million on homeless, expanding the hotel voucher program by $16 million or more, that goes against every single best interest of the town of Brattleboro, of this entire county, and of Vermont. It's ridiculous liberal spending, and it just basically ensures chaos and packed ballots for Dems. And I swear to God, they just want bad results, bad communities, and chaos so that they can basically just secure their own seats. They want more homeless people, more people reliant on benefits, more people in crisis who they can just get to back them for free handouts. It's ridiculous. In my reality series, I expose Groundworks quite a bit. They're enabling death. Their so-called shelter is a disaster, functioning as an unmandated safe injection site. Overdoses and deaths pile up, yet the director, Libby Bennett, cries about the cleanups, notices. They didn't give them enough notice to clean up the needles. That's their property. Their harm reduction is a death trap. I never see those people out helping anybody. They sit up there in their ivory towers. They imply to everybody that they're down there working outreach to all the. No, they're not. They're enabling addiction with taxpayer cash and donation cash, while businesses like Scissor Masters flee. The AIDS Project. Okay, we got the AIDS Project. It's behind the Stone Church. It's on Grove Street. They canceled their needle exchange portion of their program. Okay, now they just hand out drug kits. You no longer have to bring the needles back. You just hand the drug, you just grab new needles. You just go and get free needles. It's ridiculous. Groundworks is a joke. Yeah, they don't want it. This isn't help. They literally hand out crack pipes in the drug. They give out needles and free crack pipes and Chore Boy and all of this. And then they wonder why there's thousands of needles spread all throughout our communities. The AIDS Project needs to be shut down. We need to get people like Wendy Harrison out. In Brattleboro, we are 100%, it's a necessity that we vote accordingly. We can't have her acting as a DNC rubber stamp, meaning whatever they tell her to do, regardless of if it's in our best interest in Brattleboro and Windham County, she will vote for it. They will yank her funding. I talked to several reps who confirmed this, that they literally put a sign out telling these senators and reps how to vote and what to vote yes or no on. And if they go against that, then they get targeted and their funding and their PAC money and their positions will get yanked and they will get replaced. They are this is why in Brattleboro, especially, and these other communities that are suffering with crime and drugs and voucher programs and hell, we need to work together and vote these people, vote them right the F out. They got to go. Our streets are a war zone. They are more worried. Okay, the comments slamming me, exposing crime on YouTube, and the Brattleboro police for daring to clear the encampments. Leftists like Harrison and the Brattleboro Commons, trash. That paper needs to be thrown in the trash. They are way more worried about that. Trashing out Charles Keir, our town health officer, for saying that this is heartless, that they're throwing out garbage and showing up and showing it's ridiculous. They threw out abandoned garbage from our encampments that was soaked and wet and dirty and had mold and dirty needles all wrapped up in it. And they're throwing a tantrum over that. It's crazy. Brendan writes, Groundworks wouldn't be around without drug addicts. 100%. And that's it. Crazy at home. I'm a 5 years clean from the hard stuff. I find it really difficult to find like-minded individuals. Yeah, well, here we are. She says, it's crazy that Wendy lives here. Her voting record proves that she's a puppet. Who is she kidding? 100%. Nailed it with this comment. Ding, 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 ding. That's the comment of the night right there. She is a literal puppet. She does anything for their funding dollars, which is thousands and thousands of dollars between advertising, PAC spending on her behalf, and her own $25,000 campaign war chest that she spent to get her seat in the first place. She is funded and owned by the DNC machine, by the eco super PACs and VPIRG. If she doesn't do what they say, she's gone. We need to vote these people out, okay? We need to get these people out, and we need to stop being afraid to do the right thing around our communities because this is getting ridiculous. And we've got a couple more news segments coming up and some amazing stuff. Oh, I love this show. So, yeah, this is another one. Oh, my God. I can't stand this. This guy, he's not hiding anything.
This race in New York City is really something else. Zoran Mamdani wins the Democratic nomination, and the oligarchs in the city, the billionaires, say, we will spend as much money as it takes to defeat him. And you have the Democratic establishment not supporting the candidate who won the Democratic primary, despite the fact that they have 50,000 volunteers, an enormous amount of energy and excitement. They don't want to support him. So what is going on in New York City right now in that race is not just important to the people of New York, it really is almost a test case for the whole country. And that is whether we can effectively put together a grassroots movement to elect public officials who...
Yeah. Cut it, because I can't even listen to his mouth. Ridiculous. Bernie, what are you talking about, buddy? He's literally a self-proclaimed socialist. And let's talk about socialism's bloody history. Vietnam's post-1975 communist disaster. Millions dead or fled from camps, starvation, boat people crisis, Stalin's gulags. Where in history did socialism ever work? Red-tinted glasses ignore socialism's body count while hyping Zoran's progressive dreams. Dude, it's gonna fail. Why is he so worried about it? Why does he want socialism and communism so bad that he's talking about in New York City? Why does he use that word oligarchy so much? We just proved, RFK just exposed him. That's literally all over the internet. This guy has taken $25 million from the pharmacy. He's the oligarch. He is their puppet. Zoran's fibbed about being a Ugandan refugee on uni apps, anti-cop rants, would turn New York City into chaos. New York City, out of anywhere, needs police. They need to have police. They have so many people jammed in New York. If you've ever been to New York, especially Manhattan and Brooklyn and the Bronx, man, they need police, dude. They need police. If they didn't have police enough to control the situation, it would be literal hours until it devolved into chaos and murder. Ridiculous. So Becca Balin's 2022 campaign gorged on $1 million from FTX fraudster Deshaun Sting. Bernie, anti-corporate crusader, pocketed 1.5 from Big Pharma. Hypocrisy. This guy's full of shit. Pardon my French. I can't stand it. I always just try to show a little segment here or there about what Bernie Sanders, Becca Balin, Peter Welch are doing to lie to us and present themselves as these, freedom fighters that are helping for the common people. Meanwhile, they are chock full of scandals and lies and literally doing the exact opposite from what the best interest of the state that they represent or to the best interest of the country that they're supposed to be senators for and House representatives. Ridiculous. Like, who are you working for? And the answer is the pharmaceutical company and the super PACs and climate agenda. In my very last segment that I've got tonight, I've got some refreshing news for us. And where are they? Oh, okay. So Vermont's left is melting down over AFP, American for Prosperity. Let me throw up our poster while I discuss this. Now, these people are helping us in the state of Vermont do the right thing as far as affordability, as far as getting the drugs out of our communities, and have helped us financially. It's one of the only organizations that help Republicans or help affordability or help fight back against climate giant spending, okay? And the left is melting down, okay? Ridiculous. And now we're starting to form a little coalition for the first time ever. We have some people on board. You've got Planet Hank, myself in the Brattleboro News. We've got the Vermont Daily Chronicle. We've got FYI VT. And we've got Rob Roper. And we're forming a Republican coalition, a centrist coalition, a real Vermont first coalition, exposing biases, leftist BS like the Commons, the VT Digger, and all of the media outlets, and all of like Indivisible Vermont, and all of these VPIRG, and all of this machine that they've created to send us down this wrong track. Now, the VT Diggers propaganda, their August 2025 hit piece with the grist smears AFP's $63,000 push against the Affordable Heat Act. $63,000 caused them to have a meltdown. They have taken millions and millions of dollars from shady ass places. It's been ridiculous. They are out of their minds, stuffed with cash, shady dark money, Soros money, shell corporation money. We don't even know where. It's impossible to track where it's all come from. But $63,000 caused them to have a meltdown. So here's the article. I showed it last time. How a Koch-funded campaign is trying to reverse climate action in Vermont. Planet Hank's Brattleboro News video rips the Digger for painting AFP as a Koch villain, exposing Rep. Kathleen James' unhinged Facebook rants calling AFP far right. Vermont Daily Chronicle's Rob Roper slams the Digger's juvenile bias, while FYI VT's Rutland event coverage shows real Vermonters demanding affordability, not ideology. It's the truth. Digger cries dark money, but ignores Green Advocacy's 180,000 Vermont conservation voters, 218,000, and VPIRG's $2.5 million war chest. They're out of their minds. They're liars. So let's pull this up. This is a Republican coalition, and I need you guys to show up. Whether you are in the center, whether you are on the right, whether you are a little left, whatever it is, we need you to wake up. This isn't about national politics. This isn't about anything like that. This is about what is the best thing to do for the state of Vermont, for our communities. Do you want to get the drugs out? Or do you want to see things continue down this dark path that we're on? Now watch this video.
Breaking
sort of
news.
Lays it out nicely.
I'm Hank with Brattleboro News and PlanetHank.com, bringing you the latest from our community. VT Digger's latest smear paints Americans for Prosperity, or AFP, as a Koch-funded dark money villain, whining about their $63,000 in mailers against the Affordable Heat Act as some anti-climate conspiracy. FYI VT sets it straight in their recent article. AFP's transparent $186 million national budget is peanuts compared to the left's cash flood from groups like the Sierra Club, VPIRG's $2.5 million war chest, and Vermont conservation voters' $218,000 for clean heat campaigns. These eco-elites push flops like the Global Warming Solutions Act, burning $350 million of Vermont's budget, while emissions drop a measly 6% since 1990, and heating costs soar up to 45% per the PUC reports, screwing over regular folks. The left is losing it over AFP's small change, but stays silent on their own dirty money, like Becca Balin's campaign, raking in over $1 million from FTX's fraudulent crypto scheme orchestrated by Sam Bankman-Fried, now facing 25 years for fraud, with his lackey Nishad Singh pleading guilty to campaign finance fraud in 2023 to prop up woke causes. State Rep. Kathleen James's recent Facebook tantrum lies outright, branding AFP as a far-right dark money super PAC. when it's a 501c4 with IRS transparent filings, and she invents a $4 increase in home heating fuel AFP never claimed. PUC data actually warns of a 45% hike. James also boasts of cutting costs with tax relief and medical debt reduction, but her party's policies like the clean heat standard she backs drives up heating costs and property taxes, which jumped 15% in 2024 due to the education spending per their own VT Digger. Americans for Prosperity fights to make life cheaper for Vermonters, and the left is having a meltdown about it to defend their climate change agenda. I will keep you updated as this story develops. For the latest, follow me on social media and visit our website. I'm Hank with Brattleboro News and PlanetHank.com.
So there you have it. You know, and I feel like that breaks it down really nicely and shows you. But I mean, I'm here to tell you. I mean, it goes without saying, I'm all on board. I love the AFP group, and I think that we're about to get ourselves some much needed help here in the state, which will be a nice change because we've been going at this alone, and it hasn't always been going well for us. So this part of the show is my favorite fun part. I need you guys in the engagement cycle to put up 3 dog emojis in the chat. Let everybody know what's going on tonight. AFP in the house. Everybody in the house. I need 3 people to put up 3 dog emojis in the chat room. When you do that, and I see those dog emojis, I will give my co-host and very good boy Marco his delicious milk bone. Got Bodge in the house. Shout out. New Fame GOP. Shout out everybody watching. Can we get some dog emojis, please? 3 people put up 3 dog emojis. There we go, Todd. You got 1, Marco. Got to see who else is watching. Are we going to get him tonight, or is he not going to get his dog bone? Robert Kennedy. Robert Kenny. We need 1 more person. 1 more person to give this good boy right here his delicious dog bone. If you're watching, no, you got to put up 3 dog emojis. Not 1, 3. There we go, Rachel. You almost didn't get it, bro. You almost didn't get it. Planet Hank live show, the absolute finest form of entertainment on the internet. Make sure to pop out to my event, the AFP event. Constitution Day, 1787. We're going to rock out with Intercept, hosted by Planet Hank. You sign in to register, and you get free food and a drink. September 17th, 6 to 9 p.m. I can't wait for this event. AFP is so generous, and I thank you so much for helping me out with this event. And we're going to be doing a ton more. I love doing this show with you guys every week. Sorry we didn't do it last night. See you next week.